Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another vlog. This is number 3. Um, Someone mentioned a couple of times about how the organization, it was the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. Okay, that was like the legal corporation, but they were like this huge printing entity, and it just got me thinking. Some people might not even realize that, or might not appreciate like the concept of what was going on or what it was. And like I was born in 1970, excuse me, and it's like, I know it's a lot more older ones that might remember a little bit more, but I'm telling you from my vantage point how it was in that publishing company. And that's what I call it, because it's like it was like a religion built around the publishing company. Why do I say that? So it's like a huge part or thing that uh, had to do with that organization, that Jehovah's Witness cult, was the literature. So they would tell you, like, everything we teach, everything we learn is from the Bible, right? They're telling you that, but they didn't want you looking at outside information from any other religion or anything like that. What they would tell you though is we have these Bible aids that help you. If you want to learn more about the Bible, we have different publications that teach different aspects of the Bible. And they always had all these like other publications, but there was always a main publication that they used to study with people and to like bring people into the truth, they said, or that cult. And so like my parents, they started studying in the mid 60s, and the book for them was the truth book, that little blue book, even some people called it. And it was one of like the 192-page books, not that thick. Um, and we had different books that we studied in the book study, and some of them were like the big, thick books that we studied for the book study, and like talking like that thick. And like just a bunch of information. If it was a picture in there, it was black and white, so very boring. Think about a kid; it's just boring. And so they made all these books, and it was a huge, thick blue book called "The Aid to Bible Understanding," and everybody called that the Aid book. So it's like, and I tell my kids now how easy they had it when we were in the organization, because everything was just electronic, right? Phones, tablets. If I wanted to know something, I would ask my father, and he would always tell me the same thing. I could tell you, but if you find it for yourself, you'll appreciate it more. And like there I go. I would have to go look in the aid book, and then for the ministry school. And I actually liked this book that we had. It was a All Scriptures is Inspired, and it broke down every book of the Bible, and it would give you an introduction, and it would give you like break down different sections of chapters. and then why beneficial or how you can apply it. And so I would look in the aid book or I would look in the All Inspired book and I'm getting research and like that's what we had to do. The Bible that we had didn't have the reference or anything like that. It was just a Bible. And so yeah, huge printing company. Add to that, you had the tracts, the little pamphlets, that's easy to hand out, like if people are busy or something. We had brochures, like I think most of them, if I remember correctly, like 32 pages, little brochures. Um, then you had the periodicals, the magazines, and I'm sure everybody probably know the Watchtower and the Wake. That's what they eventually came to be called. And so you had the Watchtower came out each month on the 1st and the 15th. The Awake magazine came out each month on the 8th and the 22nd. So it was like each week you're just getting magazines. And they're giving you magazines at the Kingdom Hall because that's where you're getting all your literature to go out in the field ministry. You're getting literature to do personal study, and almost everybody that I know, the families had a theocratic library, and so like one of our rooms when we lived in Chicago, one of our rooms it was just nothing but books and a desk, and like one of the huge cabinets we had was nothing but um, like theocratic literature. And then on top of that, you had like, the periodicals, the Watchtower and Wake magazines. Each year they would make an index where you could look up certain topics and it tell you which volume it could be found in and which year. And so each year had the volume, just a big book with all the issues from the previous year in it. So like just tons of tracts, brochures, magazines, books, just like so many publications. Now the thing was, like we were paying, like you had to pay for the literature. So when we're at the Kingdom Hall and we're getting literature, um, the magazine servant or the literature servant, he's tallying it up, and you paid for it. You're out in the film industry, and you're like giving people your presentation, and you're talking to them, and they're interested, and then you get to that part and tell them like how much it would cost to get it. Some people would balk at that and say to learn about God should be free. Others would be like, "Oh yeah, let me get it. You're doing an important work, and you're out here in the heat and all that." And so it wouldn't be that big of a deal to them. And like when I was a boy, the earliest I can remember, I think like the magazines were like 10 cents each. Um, at some point, I remember they went up to a quarter for a magazine. Books were a little bit more, like the 192-page books I told you about. Those were usually like $1. We had monthly offers where the theocratic ministry school and the service meeting, that meeting, um, it was all about demonstrations. And we had a periodical called Our Kingdom Ministry and Our Kingdom Service. And it was like, it would go through presentations with you. We had a topic for conversation that ran for like a month or two. So each month, that topic is with like we're dialed in on it. And the topic could be, I'm just making up something. Say it's like talking about creation, or it's talking about a verse in Genesis, and it's talking about creation and Adam and Eve. So that's the topic for conversation. You would get like criticized if you didn't, and I mean like from whoever you're working with, like an elder or a pioneer, if you didn't bring up that topic. But see, you have some people that come to the door, you ask them how they're doing, and they give you an answer totally off the topic for conversation, and you talk to them about that, and yeah, you would actually. And remember, I'm young. I'm like a preteen. I'm a teenager, and you have these grown-ups like hounding you because you didn't do the topic for conversation. It's bullshit. So you're just paying for all this literature. You're collecting money for all the literature. Um, Circuit assemblies wouldn't be any literature release, but oh, buddy, for the back then they didn't call them regional conventions; they called them district conventions. And at the district convention, there was always a buzz in the air because everyone is like, "Will we get a new release this year? Will we get a new book? Will we get a new brochure?" And like me and my friends, we would go through the program of the whole convention, and we're trying to like guess which talk we might be getting a publication out of. So again, like this huge buzz. Um, they actually had a literature desk at every convention where you could just go buy literature. So me and my friends, like most of the time, we were in cleaning or food service, and we could always tell when a new release was about to hit because you would see these huge. They'd like dragging pallets and these like brown boxes on the pallet just stacked up, and they would put them at different locations at the stadium. And that's when I'm like, oh, okay, like it's about to be a new publication. And they like hyping it up, the brother giving a talk, and we are pleased to release. And he pull out his manila envelope and he pulls out the publication. Crowd erupts in applause. Everybody is happy. And then they're collecting money. Like you had to go buy the literature. Now, this is how they dope dealed you at the conventions. I always joke with my friends. I was like, because if you're familiar with that lifestyle, they always to get you hooked. They'd be like the first one free. So they would be like each family can get like two copies, and it's like four of us, so you go get two copies, and my father's just chomping at the bits for them to release it a few months later at the Kingdom Hall. They'll let you know it's available. You can order it. But they would like give you that little teaser, little taste. So they'll be like, depending on what it was, each family can get one copy or each family can get two copies. And please remember, like, just each family, you had some crooked families that, like, if they had a big family, and I know about this personally. Okay, they would send their kids to different locations in the stadium, and they would each get two, and that's how they got the allotment that they needed. So, like, yeah, witnesses are Israelites sometimes, but like I said, it's they hook you in with that, and then when they like a few months later in the announcements, they'll be like, you know, that publication you got that was released at the convention, you can now order it. So the literature servant, the line would be long, and he's taking orders, and he's sending his order each month to headquarters, and they send you back, everything, and you're paying for it, like the copies of literature that you're getting. In the end, as years progressed, I noticed something. And think about the money that they spent to ship all that literature to all these huge conventions, not only in the US, but around the world. Like, think about that money. But in the long run, they're collecting money back from us getting it at the Kingdom Hall. We were supposed to, like, when you collect money out in the ministry, you were supposed to put it in the contribution box. to like shoot it back to the branch. Sometimes I would take out a little field service snack fee. That was my tax, but don't tell anybody. But it's like they were just getting money, collecting money. Eventually, it like started ramping down, like the releases that we would get, and then the digital age came, and like they just release things like digitally at the convention. And then I noticed like, they're not making all this money. So it's like not this big push to make all these new publications. And if you notice that too, if you've been around a while, like there's not really any new publications being made. They'll drop, a few here and there. They dropped that what is it called? Come Back to Jehovah, something like that, for the ones that have been disfellowship. And um it's been like 2 or 3 years, but they made one like Love People, and we were doing it at the midweek meeting. Uh, it's like, I know that's not the full title, but it's something and love people, like how we love people out in the ministry. And so every once in a while they'll drop something, but for the majority of the time at the conventions now, they just, like, they were dropping something, but it was in a digital format, and usually it was a drama, like the live motion drama that we've just watched. At the end, you'll be pleased to know that you can go to JW.org or the app and download it. And it's like it stopped. It slowed down. Them creating publications, especially after at some point it went to donation only, and I kind of saw something on why it might have went that way. Uh, how they were kind of, their hand was pushed to go donation only. So we, if you want to donate, you can. It goes towards the worldwide work. Probably goes towards the rollies we see on the broadcasting on different governing body members' wrists. But yeah, it was the printing, and I like how someone worded it. It was a huge publishing company. Like that's what it was, and I got to thinking, I was like, yeah, it was a religion, a culture, an atmosphere wrapped around a publishing company, and it was a huge moneymaker for them. And yeah, it's crazy now, especially, and it just got me thinking. The revenue dried up from it, and now all of a sudden everything's digital, and they push like crazy their website. You see that circle with the JW.org everywhere. They push that website, and conveniently, they've made contributing easy on there. Um, you can contribute all kind of ways, and you can even leave your will to them. It's so many ways they take money still, and again, tying in with all my other videos, that's what I ask people is stop for a second, stop talking, stop debating, stop deflecting, stop victim playing the victim, and just think. Like, listen to what we're saying, the ex Jehovah's Witnesses, and just think, use your reasoning, use your discernment, and see, like, why are certain things that happen in the Jehovah's Witness cult, why do they happen? What's the meaning behind them? And the more I learn, just the more my mind is open, and the more I'm realizing this organization that I gave over 5 decades to, and I had them on a pedestal. The more I learn, the more I see, the more I read, and I'm not talking about just reading like a book or someone's opinion. I'm talking about the more I see legal documentation, the more I'm seeing um, just these different news outlets doing stories, showing proof. The more of all that I see, the more I just see the corruption, and I see how they put people in, especially those that are missing something in their life, that need something in their life, need a hope, need a sense of community or a sense of feeling needed or wanted, cared for. Like, they go for those types and just draw you in. And yeah, I'm just trying to open people's eyes. And like, in the comments, I would love to hear what you remember about the literature. And if you remember all the literature, were you around in the time when we had to pay, or did you come in when it was donation only? Um, just I love hearing different stories, and I want to hear what you all remember about that. What did you think? Uh, like, do you see how it changed when the digital age came to the forefront? So, leave me a comment. Um, I love interacting with everyone. I like hearing everyone's thoughts, ideas. That's how I learn. That's how we all should learn. Just getting out there and learning about people, learning about the world. And yeah, so I am excited to hear your thoughts and comments on this video. Um, Look for me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You can usually find me if you just look up um, XJDub, EXJDUB. Look that up and it should bring you to me. But again, I thank you all. Look forward to hearing your thoughts and comments. Have fun, be safe, and thrive.